Who you gonna do next?
Let me do the Jaguars.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Might as well
All
get
right,
both bad teams out of the way.
Yeah.
Jaguars. No Tim
All
Tebow
right.
references, thank God.
I had some Tebow stuff, but it's, obviously I can't use the. But anyway, Urban Meyer, man, like obviously I'm not a big fan of him. What he did in college was really, really good though. You can't deny his record: 187 and 32, 3 national titles. But what he did in college is obviously this is the pros, this is the NFL. So what he did in college might not transfer over as easily. He's not dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds or just 18 to 22-year-olds basically, or 20, 22-year-olds basically. He's dealing with 25, 30, 35-year-olds in that locker room, and the type of environment that he had and the type of antics that he was doing in college, and maybe even like motivational speeches or whatever you want to call it, might not carry over as easily with this team. He's already made some questionable decisions, hiring Doyle out of Iowa, with his past and everything like that came out. And, fortunately, he stepped down without having to deal with a bunch of headaches before the season even got to this point. Drafting Travis Etienne, that's how you say his name, from out of Clemson, the running back. And then there was talk of him playing wide receiver. And I don't know if that was really true or not for the most part, but he's kind of back in his position. Even they use him as like a pass catching running back. That's pretty good, but not as a wide receiver. And then obviously the whole Tebow thing, which is fortunately worked out for I think everybody, because he wasn't ready to be a tight end. He wasn't good enough, and it showed in the preseason game that he played in. But Urban Meyer, I think his first year with the Jaguars, like I remember he said there's something to the effect of he kind of admires or maybe like kind of feels bad or something like that for NFL coaches, because even though they won 10 games, they still lost 6, and he's going to have to get used to that because this team is going to they're not even going to win 10 games. So he's going to have to get used to going 5-11 or 5-12 now, or 6-11. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. Fortunately, he has the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence he's a beast. Well, he was a beast in college. 34-2 record, 3 straight trips to the playoff or championship game, national championship. So he knows he can play. Everybody knows he can play. It's just going to have to be. I think the expectations are really super high for him. I think they might need to tone down those expectations, because you kind of put a lot of pressure on him. If he doesn't pan out, then you call him a bust or something like that. So, I think he's going to be really, really good, but these expectations that they're kind of placed on him could bring unwanted pressure. I'm not saying he's not built for it. Maybe he can handle it. Maybe he can't. Who knows? But it's just kind of, to me, unwanted pressure that I don't think he needs, especially in Jacksonville. It's not like he's going to Green Bay or San Francisco or something like that, Dallas. He's in Jacksonville. I think he can. He's not going to be in the big spotlight for the most part. So, and I think he has a solid core around him, especially the 2 running backs. James Robinson was a beast last year, 1,000-yard season. I was kind of surprised by the pick of Travis Etienne out of Clemson. I guess he's obviously a familiar player for Trevor Lawrence, so he gets that familiarity with him. So they kind of have a rapport basically already before they even came into camp. So the running back core should be solid. I was just kind of really banking on Robinson coming out and showing out again this year, but who knows what that backfield is going to be like with maybe a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split or something like that. I think DJ Chark is poised for a breakout season. He had a breakout season 2019. I think and he had, Gardner Minshew to me was a solid quarterback. He put up really good numbers. But now I think Trevor Lawrence could even make those numbers look minuscule. So I think if they can get on the same page, Marvin Jones, I like the Marvin Jones signing as well. He's a solid wide receiver. When I mess his name up, Laviska Shenault, whatever. I think he could be really good. He had a solid rookie year, so I expect big things from him as well. That whole offense, I think if they can kind of keep Trevor Lawrence up on his feet, they should be in a couple of years, maybe not this year, but a couple of years, if they can keep everybody around, I think they should be really, really solid. Cam Robinson, they had the franchise tag on him. They did draft Walker Little. So I think they play the same position. So maybe they can move somebody around a little bit, but I think the line needs a little bit of work. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for that line to get to Indianapolis status, basically, or Cleveland status. But I think they got a lot of time to put some work in this upcoming season and gel. And next year, I think they'll be a solid group. The defensive line is going to be tough. The defensive line doesn't really have too many good dynamic pass rushers. I think they have the tools to be good pass rushers in Josh Allen and Clavon Chasen. Chopped? I don't know how to say his name, but I think they're those are the two stars of the defensive line. I think if they can put it together this year and possibly turn that season around from their last year, I think they can make some noise. Miles Jack was playing like a monster last year before he got hurt. Not before he got hurt, before he kind of tailed off. He looked like one of the better, if not the best linebacker in the league. And then he just kind of tailed off. They had Joe Shorbert, and he's not there anymore. He's in Pittsburgh. So I was kind of hoping he was going to be there to be there with Jack. And I thought they could be a really good linebacker duo, basically, but he's not there anymore. So they're gonna have to just rely on Jack to be that guy and lead that team. They have some young corners. I like the addition of Shaquille Griffin from Seattle, Tyson Campbell, the rookie this year. So they have some decent pieces. I believe Corey. I'm gonna mess his name up. And Andre Cisco. Like, they have some good young pieces. I think in a couple years, this could be a really solid team if they can keep building and keep get these players meshing well, especially on the offensive end, and they just keep building a defense like they did for the most part in this draft. I don't really have high expectations as far as wins go. I think obviously it all hinges on what the quarterback is going to do. And because I really don't have too many high expectations for the defense, but if Trevor Lawrence can come out and play like Clemson Trevor Lawrence, it's going to probably be some stepping stones there. But if you saw what Joe Burrow was doing, we saw what Justin Herbert did, and Trevor Lawrence can come in and do the same or even exceed those. But I'm looking at 5-12. Which is, to me, a step up from winning one game in the first game of the season against the Colts and then losing 15 straight. So they having to deal with that. But 5-12, I think, is pretty good progress.
All right, Mo. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Urban Meyer. It was highly shocking to us, all of us, because remember we did I think we put that on our podcast when he got hired. Highly shocking, but he's here now. I wonder, with his quote unquote health issues, how long will he be there? How long will he stay healthy to take on the responsibility of a head coach and the pressure that's going to be there, especially when you have such a high profile quarterback like Trevor Lawrence? Because regardless of the talent, there's going to be a clapback of why you're not winning when you have a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence. Whether it's fair or not, it's going to be that because of how much pressure and how much praise they give Trevor Lawrence. So quarterback-wise, they're solid. I mean, based on what you want to from eye candy, Trevor Lawrence, Gordon Minshew, he's solid. He does good things. Running back wise, man, they're solid. I'm looking at it now. I'm looking back at it now, like they're solid. James Robinson, who, if I'm not mistaken, was just put on the NFL 100. He was just on there as a running back. You sit there with another Carlos Hyde, who's always been solid running back. Then you talking about Travis Etienne, who they drafted and who they drafted. Right now, I'm looking right here. They got him third on the depth chart, and he was drafted highly. So that's a high running back room right there. Wide receiver wise, they're great. You got DJ Chalk, you got Marvin Jones, you got the kid we can't even pronounce, Shinnok. He's good. I don't know nothing about their tight ends, so I don't even want to speak to that. But Cam Robinson's always been bouncing around the league. You look at Jawan Taylor. I think he's going into his third, fourth year coming out of Florida. I think he was a second round pick or a first round pick or something like that. Solid. Defensively, I feel sorry for Griffin, Mack, and it's one more person. Griffin, Mack, and Kason. Griffin, Mack, Kason, and Josh Allen. I feel like they're going to do great things, but they're not going to get the praise they should get because of the team they're going to be on. Josh Allen solid. I like them coming out of Kentucky. I think they're going to be solid, but I think they're not going to get the praise they should get because they're going to be on they're going to be on a team that's not going to be look very good. Overall, I like what Craig said. Overall, I can see 4 to 5 wins. I can see 4 to 5 wins. I think they're going to be a team that's going to be. They're going to be one of them teams that's going to be better as the year goes along, depending on how Urban Meyer adjusts to the NFL game. I think it'll be one of them teams where they might not be winning as the year goes along, but they're going to be a team like you could see them not getting blown out. I think they're going to be competitive as the year goes along. But I see them I can see them as 5-12, 4-13, 5-12.
All right, cool. All right, Corey. Jacksonville Jaguars.
For the Jags, obviously, again, TBD on the coach. But I will say that history is not on Urban Meyer's side. College coaches just tend to struggle when making that jump to the NFL, unless they're like a Pete Carroll who was in the NFL, went to college, and then back. It's also just as Mo said, it's odd that the reason Urban Meyer stated he stepped down at Ohio State was over health concerns. But then he jumps into the NFL where there will be more stress and longer hours. So, how long is he really going to be around? And for ownership, it's odd when you have the number 1 pick, a highly touted quarterback coming out, and you pick a guy that has a history of health concerns that may not be there very long. It seems like you would want to try to get a coach that's going to be there and grow with your quarterback for the long run. So offensively, as we've said, they benefited from Adam Gase's complete and total incompetence and won the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. We'll see if he lives up to the hype. But I will say he has been struggling during camp. At least he was struggling early on, struggling to the point where Urban Meyer came out and said it was an open competition for the QB job, which is maybe it's a motivational tactic trying to light a fire under Lawrence, but it's not a good sign for a fan base that has that highly touted a guy coming in and he's having to duke it out with Gardner Minshew. James Robinson is a really good running back, had a good rookie year, good type of piece you want to have with a young quarterback. Travis Etienne is an interesting change of pace option. Taking him in the second round seems like a bit more of a luxury type pick than what the Jaguars could afford, but we'll see. Lawrence at least does have a really good receiver trio and DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, and Laviska Shenault. But I don't know how good that offensive line is going to be. So, how much is Lawrence going to get beat up this year? Defensively, it's crazy how this team's defense carry them to being arguably one blown call away from the officials to beating the Patriots and taking Blake freaking Bortles to a Super Bowl in 2018 to how far they have fallen. CJ Henderson already looks like he may be a bust out of the NFL. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it is a weird situation. K'Lavon Chason does look really good. He shows the flashes, and he's a cornerstone piece for that defense. They did add a few more guys like Malcolm Brown, Shaq Griffin. on the whole, I don't really expect a whole lot out of that unit. Overall, the season is not about wins and losses for the Jaguars. The questions that need to be answered is: can Urban Meyer win over this locker room and an NFL team? Can Trevor Lawrence live up to the hype? If the team can finish the season just showing progress, taking steps, then that is a win for this franchise. But I would say 3-14 is realistic.
All right. Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer finally has an NFL head coaching job. And he's going to find out real quick. It's not gimmicky like college. You can't bring somebody who hasn't played in 8 seasons at a different position and think they're going to be good. You're going to learn very quickly how professional and how detailed the NFL is. This is not college. The motivation in the NFL is it has to be on a different level, and it has to be constant. So he's going to find out. It's not easy. He does bring leadership from the college level, and he also he has I think is a generational quarterback. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be good. I think he's going to play NFL a while. I make this comparison, and people might, but I think he's going to be like Matthew Stafford. He's going to put up good numbers, always going to have the talent. And if Jacksonville is able to put around him, that's different. But I just feel like he's just like, oh man, Trevor Lawrence 2 for 4,000 again. That's just I think. Unless Jacksonville builds around him, I think it's going to be Matthew Stafford, Detroit. Number 1 pick that plays good, decent. Of course, he's going to have up and downs in training camp. Urban Meyer's weird for saying that, but like, you're not going to not start him. I mean, you don't want to. You want to put. Listen, Trevor Lawrence has been a highly touted quarterback since high school. He's the best high school quarterback in Georgia, behind Justin Fields. He's the best quarterback coming out of college, behind Justin Fields. You don't say that. You just, he's the number 1 pick. He's not to say he's Peyton Manning, but he's Matthew Ryan and Matt Stafford. You start him. There's no competition. There's nobody behind him. You start him. You let him learn. That's just, the running back position is pretty good. James Robinson just made the 100 list. Phenomenal running back. And Carlos Hyde and Travis Etienne, which is a weird, interesting draft pick. But he has some continuity with Trevor Lawrence. And right now he's 3rd. So I guess he's just shoring up the backfield. It won't surprise me if he does take over Carlos Hyde, but that's not going to be an easy task. Carlos Hyde is a vet. And if you give Carlos Hyde time, he'll play. The offensive line consists of Cam Robinson, AJ Cann. Let's see if they can protect Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if they can so far. The tight end is Chris Manhertz. Who is that? That's all I have to say. I'll get into that. The wide receivers are good with DJ Shark, Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, guys, is a really consistent receiver. And him and Trevor Lawrence have already hooked up a couple times in camp, so they're already they're on the same accord. Laviska Shenault Jr. I think he played really well last year, and I think if he gets consistent in the quarterback position, I think he's going to build on last year. Defensive line. Oh man, it's crazy. they go from Saxonville to this, but they have Malcolm Brown and Devon Hamilton. Josh Allen needs to be healthy. He played 8 games last year and only produced 2.5 sacks. So he needs to produce sacks, bottom line. He's a first round pick. Miles Jack, I mean, he's been through, like Craig said, he needs to be more consistent. He's been like that through his career, though. But I think now he needs to take more of a leadership role. The defensive back, Shaquille Griffith, comes over from Seattle. I like Shaquille. Now, once again, coming over from a winning locker room to a locker room that doesn't win, it's gonna see how he establishes that leadership culture and what he's learned, because it's different when you go from winning and everybody's happy to, man, we're 4-13 instead of 13-4. It's a difference. So, you know, and the safeties, they gotta do a lot of work. Wilson and Jenkins, they gotta do a lot for the back end of their defense. I'm just gonna be honest. Overall prediction. Urban Meyer. He's gonna find out how hard it is to be an NFL coach. The question is he gonna stick it out? Right? Is he gonna stick it out? Because if he doesn't, somebody's gonna want to coach Trevor Lawrence. And it seems to me that Jacksonville does give the coaches time to implement their system. So if they get the right guy in there, that's I don't see anybody saying, "Oh no," it's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I can work with Lawrence. Give me a shot." So I think that Urban Meyer's already started wrong by getting Tim Tebow. I think that was idiotic, and he learned really quick. Like, he just learned quick. Like, this is the NFL, man. We're professional sports. Right, this is not gimmicky. You got it. It's ridiculous. But the Jaguars are not a good team. They're going to be rebuilding for a long time. So right now, Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence is tied to the hip. But I got them going 4-13.